It's scary. No one needs to see me in pajamas.
Great way to kick things off. That was Caitlin. I'm Russell. Welcome to episode 20. Last time I started getting into a bunch of code refactoring. We finished up all the steps technically, like got all the data on each scroll trigger loading in all the way through the last one. And then I started blowing things up to make it more reusable. So I'm just and readable. So I'm gonna keep digging away at that today. The only thing that I did offline was as I mentioned, I'm going to do this 100 times, but I just like tweaked the copy in here. And then what did I do? Oh, I compiled a whole bunch of issues just to help maybe focus my intentions for each session. So you can see how these are all for the perspective chart, kind of the remaining tasks. So I'm going to try to focus on this one right now, maybe these two, and we'll see what happens. So I think my plan for today is to hopefully mostly finish off this chart and maybe start on some of the other charts as well. This one is easily the most time intensive. The other ones should be much quicker since they're not going to be, they'll mostly be static, I think, with just some interaction, and maybe some light. I can't picture there being any real like animations or transitions, so it should be pretty straightforward. So yeah, let's see where to begin. So yeah, I was in the middle of making everything like a function. So even like my enter selections and all that stuff. Also, I'm probably not going to talk that much this time because I think I work better when I don't talk out loud. So we'll see how it goes. So I consolidated this. So like each time I can just run those couple of lines. So you can see that's here and here. So before, this code was like ginormous because it included all the stuff inside of the enter person and enter circles functions. So now I'm just kind of refactoring to make sure. So each step will have less and less code in itself, and I'm going to separate those into functions. And I'll probably have to like start passing some parameters because there'll be like variations for each step, but we'll get to that. So this one's not major, but we can also, I think, make this into a function because now that we're not filtering the data custom in here, basically all the data work will be done beforehand. And then we're going to pass it. So we shouldn't have to do any special filtering when we get to like this point. So let's see. In this case, let's see, do we want to... yeah, okay. So we'll basically call this person merge dot. It's not an enter. It's going to be because this is not entering a path. We've already created the path. So we'll call it update. Let's see, we've got enter person, enter circles, path. We'll take person. And obviously the line function is something that's going to have to exist within there. And obviously it doesn't know about the scale, so we'll have to pass in the scales just like we did for enter circle. I could make these scales global at this point. I feel better doing it this way in case I want to change them up. Okay, so now this is like nice and tidy. Again, make sure it works. Okay, so it did work. We got a path. Let's kind of add that logic. Should actually maybe be the same block down here. I'm not sure it actually. Oh, the difference is this time we're going to want to animate it in. So that's where we're going to have our first little deviation. And I mean, like we can keep refactoring. Like I could maybe consolidate all this because clearly this is the same exact code, but I don't need to go too crazy here. So let's see, we should see it pop in now on the second one. Okay, that's good. Except we don't want it to pop in, right? We had this whole bit of code for animation. So let's see if we can add that to our update path. Or maybe not. Maybe we can actually do it here. So we actually don't want to do this on everyone. We just want to animate in on specifically prints, I believe. So there's a couple ways I could filter. We could probably just filter by, here, let's see if we can just do it right here, because this makes sense to keep it in here because it's custom to this step, prints before, I think, because we're not going to be, yeah, let's try that. So first emerge, filter, d.page ID is equal to prints ID. We'll only be working with the prints element. Okay. And then let's select the path. And then maybe we'll do, let's see. So I'm blowing up a lot of the stuff that was working before. Oh, reset line, right? We had a function. Right, it should have this best. So we filtered the data, right? So Prince's data should actually is only going up to here. So we already have that filtered. So let's try to call a reset line. Let's see. So if we go back up to a reset line function, that should, yeah, so basically that should just immediately draw it and then immediately set it to the stroke dash offset to be the length. So then it'll basically disappear. Oops. Get out of here. That's good. The circles are still there because we have to figure out a game plan for the circles at some point. Okay, so we can reset line. And it automatically returns that same selection, so we can just keep chaining. And then we want to select the path. I don't know if this will preserve my indentation. And then animated. Hey, okay. Back to where we were before. Also, I don't like when it doesn't like my indentation. Let's actually two-stage it out so it's a little clearer. All right, I don't know what all this stuff does. Delete it. And and we'll leave that uncommented for now. We'll still just work in the forward motion. So the next one, this one now we have to like bring over all our goodies. So let's say date before spike, date spike. This is not being used. It will be maybe. Actually, I should keep these global because I might use these in another place. Should I? I don't know. Yeah, might as well. I have these ones here too. Pass. I didn't. Right, and now scale Y. We don't want it to use. So by default, I believe, let me see. Right, it uses Beyonce's because that's what we use for the X scale and for the first couple Y scales. So we want to pass in something to override that. So now we want the scale to actually be all the data. So actually, I think we should be, but it's actually expecting. I made this harder on myself, I think. Right, it's expecting the page view data. Oops. All right, so and we know print is going to be the highest one, so we could say just data dot. Do the trick. Okay. And then let's grab our people things. So there will be circles entering. It's gonna, oh, so it could be a little different. So let's see, person merge, call update path. So update path will simply change the data for that path, which makes sense because that's what we want it to do. I see, but we actually want to transition everything down first. That's what happens. Okay, let's comment that out for now. Oh, that's a lot of things. So we're actually not doing these separate. Actually, I'm going to say merge. Select all path. New path data. Oh, I see. I see. We actually don't want to update the paths yet. do we want to update the circles? Right, because we want to do the whole animation bit before we do any updates. Let's say select the path, transition, duration. Right. So we actually want to do this before the merge, I mean, before we add the data, in fact. Oops. So let's see. Well, you know what? No, because actually all we've done, we haven't changed the data yet. Okay. Let's see how this plays. Oops, I don't want to do any of this other stuff. And so we want to actually update our current circles that exist. Oh, those went the wrong way. Okay. Did I have a date spec wrong? Yep. Okay, it almost worked, except for our other path disappeared. Because that seemed to reset. Not entirely sure why actually that reset. Oh wait, it didn't reset. There's just nothing in it. So curious. So the Beyonce one has the right data. The other one has the wrong data. So maybe I did the data join wrong. Let's see how we joined it here. Looks exactly the same. Oh, am I calling it on leave? That could be a problem. this one. Okay. Where was I? It's going away. So clearly the selection or the data is not still bound to that for some reason. See what happens if we don't do this and just say return. Some reason the data joined to the path is not the same. I wonder. Well, that's not what I was hoping to see. Because, I wonder if. No, but at some point, let's see, I have a feeling if I don't run this, it will be good. Good. It's gonna be a really stupid error when I find it. I'm gonna be mad at myself. Why did that log out twice? Okay, that makes sense. It's one enter. There's no exits. What's empty? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's ever. Oh, wait. Yeah. Why is that like that? Because it's returning the enter selection, not the appended item. I think it's the appended item. Aha. That looks more appropriate. Oh, so close. Right, I actually need to cut all update line because that scales it. The difference is the data should be right this time. Cross your fingers. Oh no, it went away again. Mm-hmm. My goodness. This is going to be the bane of my existence today. Sorry, doing something else. Okay. So I have a feeling if we don't run the transition, it'll work fine. But maybe I'm wrong. Totally worked. So it does have something to do with what we call, let me go reset line, but actually, I want to know if it's the animation or if it's the reset line function itself. Offset is usually going to be, if there's no offset, it's total length minus offset. Sorry, it's usually total length. So let's just put it to some arbitrary value so it'll show up. Okay, reset. Cool. So it is reset line. Because if we actually just did this, which one would actually do an animation? Because it'll already be filled in. It should stay. Oh no, it goes away. If I do anything to it, it goes away. That's weird. Be fine. What the? What was I doing? Sorry, I'm pretty distracted this morning. That's interesting. Because when we ran update path, it should bind the data. What? Okay, I gotta call it here for a sec. Do something else for a little bit. I'll come back. I'll figure this out. Are you still there, Caitlin?
Yeah, I am. I was waving goodbye, but I realized my camera was off. I've also been nodding, but again, I realized my camera's been off.
All right. Did you see anything, by the way, that was obvious that I'm totally missing?
No, but I can definitely go through and look again.
No, it's all good. I'll figure it out.
A fresh look at it in a second.
All right. Bye, everybody.